Today, we are going to talk about one of the questions that I get most often when I go on listing appointments, and it centers around inspections. So we are going to talk about inspections today. Which inspections do we need to get? When should we do them? And who's going to pay for them and why, right? So those are the big topics that we're going to cover. The first question is, I go into a listing appointment and I start telling sellers about my services and how I go about the process. And I start telling them that one of my main focuses when I take a listing is trying to create the situation, the conditions under which it's ripe to get multiple offers. Now, if you want to try to get multiple offers, usually you are going to have to get your inspections done first. Usually the sellers push back and they say, but Mike, isn't it true that the buyers pay for the inspections and it's on their dime? And so I should be able to save that money. I don't want to pay for the inspections because the buyers are going to pay for that. And I'm going to say, yes, that's possible. That's one way that you can go about doing this process. But I'm going to suggest that it's a less elegant, more dangerous way to sell your home than if you got your inspections done up front. Here's why. So if you wait and you don't get your inspections done up front, we are going to list your house and we're going to prep it and we're going to put it on the market. So we're not going to know everything about your house yet. And so we're going to have to wait and we're going to find a buyer and they're going to tell you that they're going to buy your house for a price. And then they're going to do the inspections and they're going to find out all the stuff that we didn't know about the house yet. And it might be scary stuff. It might not be that scary. But one thing's for certain, if a buyer finds out after the fact, they're going to think the worst. They're going to think that things have been hidden from them. And what else are you not telling me about this property? And so you're going to have to renegotiate the deal while you're in escrow, siloed off with this one buyer. You weren't having this conversation with all of the buyers on the marketplace about all the things of your house. You committed to one buyer at one price, and now we're going to talk about all the bad things about your house. Once we're in escrow, once the buyer has paid for their inspection reports, which they are then going to use as a hammer to beat you over the head, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, with and try to get money out of you during the escrow period. I know that's what's going to happen because I see it almost every time. We wait to get inspections done. They find something in the inspection reports and they're trying to get the seller to fix it for them. If you want the best opportunity at trying to get the best price for your home and get multiple people excited about buying it, you are going to have to pay for the inspections up front. And the best analogy that I can give for this is the Carfax. So if you were out in the world and you were going to go buy a used car, you wouldn't just trust the seller of that automobile about the history of that automobile. You would go to that Carfax and for a very low price, you would find out a third-party representation of everything that's happened with that car as far as repairs and accidents it's been in and whatnot. So which are you more likely to trust? What the seller says or what the third-party representative is giving you the information about? And it's the same thing when it comes to inspection reports. And so every time I take a listing, I am recommending to my sellers that we get at least 3 things done before we put the property on the market. Number 1 is a preliminary title report. So what is a preliminary title report? It is going to be a document that the title company provides us with that shows us the chain of title on the property. And it will tell us if there are easements on the property, and it will tell us if there are mechanics liens, and if the taxes are current, and if there's any mortgage debt that has to be paid off as part of the sale. So it's going to tell us a lot of information about the property that buyers and sellers are going to want to know before they make a purchase. And so we're going to get the preliminary title report. We're also going to get a wood destroying pest report. And so that wood destroying pest report is going to tell us if there is moisture or some kind of dry rot or fungus or pests like termites, beetles, carpenter bees attacking this property. And if there are things that we need to fix to make sure that that doesn't get worse over time, that is what that wood destroying pest report is going to tell us. And then finally, the general home inspection. Now, the general home inspector is going to give the house a good once over. And most of the time, these are retired builders or people who've been in the construction industry decide that they're going to become inspectors. And so you pay them a fee and they're going to go through, they're going to crawl under the house, they're going to peek up in the attic, they're going to look at the systems, they're going to run the AC, they're going to run the appliances, and they're going to see if everything looks like it's working okay. And they're going to present a report to you. And so that's a home inspection report. And so we're going to want at least those 3 things before we come to market: the preliminary title report, a wood destroying pest inspection report, and a home inspection report, because that's going to give us a really good baseline about anything crazy that's going on with this property. And then what we can do is we can control the narrative and we can decide, do we want to fix that thing so that it doesn't even come up in conversation? Or hey, do we just want to put that in the disclosure package, but maybe we get a bid of what it would cost to cure it so that the buyers don't invent in their mind how much it would cost to fix something. This is another truth about real estate, is if you don't know how much it costs to fix something, a buyer is going to greatly overinflate what they think that expense is going to be and a seller is usually going to make it seem like it's not as big of a problem. We want, again, an independent third party to put a number to it so that it's not a scary nebulous thing out there in the world that we don't know what it's going to cost to fix. We have a real bid from a real contractor that's licensed and bonded that's ready to take care of this thing. If we don't have the money to fix it, we put it in the disclosure package so that the buyer knows exactly what it would take to cure that issue. And it makes the fear of it go away, and so that they feel free to like actually bring out their wallets and put in an offer on this property because they already know the things that are going on. And it's way better for you, the seller, to have that conversation with all of the buyers on the marketplace than wait until you're siloed off mano a mano with one buyer and then you're having those conversations. That's when sellers lose, when they've waited and they don't know what's wrong with their property and they wait till the buyer finds out and then they are siloed off and that buyer's gonna beat them up and trying to get them to fix all of those things that they find out about the property. And so let's nip that in the bud. Let's not give the buyers that power over you as a seller. Let's take it away from them. Let's find out what's wrong with our house ahead of the time, and then let's come up with a story about how we want to roll this property out into the market. Most of the time, my sellers are not independently wealthy Warren Buffett types with a bottomless pocket to do all of the things that they need to do to fix their property up. And so usually we have to do some kind of triage where we have $10,000. What's the best way to spend this $10,000 to give us the biggest bang for the buck in the marketplace? And I'm gonna tell you, usually it's not fixing the roof or fixing something in the foundation that nobody can see. Usually the best bang for the buck is taking that $10,000 and doing something visual that's gonna make people fall in love with the house. And so that's what we're trying to do, is to create like some emotional resonance where people really can see themselves living in this property and fall in love with it. And that's when you get multiple offers. When people feel that emotional resonance with the house, that is when they're willing to really go crazy and like offer more than what the house may be worth because they have the emotional connection with it. And they're gonna spend so much time of their life in that property that it's worth it to them to spend a little bit more to get that one property that's magical. That's why we see so much staging happening right now out in the marketplace. So if you have a high-end property and you're not staging it, you're probably leaving money on the table, because if you are not staging the property and creating that emotional connection with buyers, they're probably not going to be excited about going above and beyond to spend even more money for this property. And so we really have to kind of tie into all of those aspects of the buyer's mentality when they come to see the property to make sure that we're getting the best deal for the seller when we launch. Please, if you just take one thing away from these videos that I'm showing to all of you, if you're going to sell your house, no matter what your realtor says, you need to get your inspections done first. It's going to serve you well. Please, to heed my warning, all of you out there, if you're going to sell your house, get a prelim, get a home inspection, get a pest inspection done before you roll your house onto the marketplace. You're going to have a better overall experience when it comes to selling your house.